Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show. I'm Bryan Cohen from Best Page Forward, joined by MM/gay romance superstar Nora Phoenix, who said her Dutch ancestors would be rolling over from this kind of ridiculousness. How are you, Nora?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me, Bryan. And yes, they would. It's the superstar part is very not Dutch, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll forgive me.
I love it. I love it. Well, I mean, you know, a lot of authors look up to you as someone who has put herself out there, sold a lot of books, done incredible things. But it is hard. Like even for us non-Dutch, it's difficult to talk
Yeah,
ourselves up
I don't like tooting
sometimes.
my own horn. I really don't. I appreciate someone else saying it, but I would never say that myself. No,
I mean,
but
do
that's
you
okay.
do you feel like you've come some way in that direction though? Do you feel
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
speaking on stages and doing the things that you've done, like you own it a little bit more at this point?
Yeah, I think I'm comfortable saying that I'm successful in what I do, and
Yeah.
but I'm also at the same time when I say that I'm also quick to point out, the circumstances or um,
Hmm.
why I'm doing what I do or why I am good at what I do. Because I don't want people to think that I am bragging or that it's pure luck or, I just want to be honest. I think that's my main goal. Like, I want to give advice and help people, but I especially want to be honest and prevent from presenting it as, a golden ticket or a quick fix solution. There's no such thing. So,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There is absolutely no such thing. And I don't think randomness or luck has, as much to do with it as just how hard you work and how much you listen. You listen to the trends, you understand where things are going, and then you take action based on that.
yeah, I have a plan. I'm very systematic. I make a
Yeah.
plan and then I execute the plan. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Do you feel like there was a time before the plan and like a specific time where you were like, oh, so that's how this works. Now I have a plan. Do you feel like it evolved over time or there was a specific
Um,
like line in the sand where that happened?
I think I was lucky in the sense that when I decided to go full time as an author, I've never written part time. Well, that's not entirely true. I was
Yeah.
writing part time, but like not in fiction. I have some
Hmm.
nonfiction books out under different pen names.
Yeah.
But when I decided to go all in on fiction and on gay romance, I was lucky in that I had a lead time, and I used that to do the research, to read all the things, to dig into it, and make a plan. So
Yeah.
I had that plan as soon as I felt I had enough information to make it. And then I started executing the plan, adding more information, and also, changing it based on the reality. Like, okay, I tried this does not work. Let's try something else. So,
Yeah.
but I don't operate well without a plan. That's just not who I am. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not a discovery marketer here, a discovery production calendar person. You've got
Um,
the plan.
I like to try things. Like if I hear something new, I'm willing to try it out. But then
Yeah.
I'm very data based in, okay, what's the starting point? What am I trying out? And measure. I'm all about you gotta measure your starting point, measure your end point. What's the actual result? If I can't
Right.
see a result, well, that means it wasn't successful in
Yes.
any parameter, however you measure, a result,
I
money,
think
sales,
tracking
whatever. Yeah.
I think tracking is absolutely one of the things a lot of authors do struggle with. They try six things and they don't know which of the things actually worked, and so they just either do the six things again or try six new things, and
Yeah.
that system is not really going to work.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So no. And especially what, like you said, trying six things as much as possible. I try to change one thing at a time so that
Yes.
I know I can control the variables and I know which change made the difference. And you can't always prevent it because, I've had experiments where in the middle of my experiment, Amazon decided to make changes to whatever they were doing. And all of a sudden you're screwed and your experiment is false or changed. I mean, I think a big part of being an author, especially self-published author, you got to go with the flow. You got to be able to
Yeah.
make that plan, but then also let go of the plan when Amazon inevitably screws it up, because they always do. And
They
that's
always
part of
they're
the game.
tweaking things in the same way that we're tweaking
Yes,
things.
yes, they are.
They're tracking their data. We have to track our data.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is all great stuff here. I'm going to go into previous week's question here, which was, what's one thing you want to outsource in your author business? And we'll come back to you on this one too, Nora. But Shane Kawalilak said, nothing would help my author business more than outsourcing my day job, which I love. Evan Stevens said, definitely the final formatting and uploading of both digital and paperback files. I can do it, but feel like it's a time drain. Yes. And look, big fan of Vellum if you've got a Mac, but it doesn't mean it's still not annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
And Susan Tilgman Hawthorne said, everything except the writing, LOL. Yeah, I mean, Becca Syme was speaking at an event that I ran last year and mentioned, you don't have to do any of it yourself, even the writing, because a lot of people don't actually do the writing.
Well, the writing I absolutely do want to do myself.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of outsourcing the shit out of everything else.
Oh,
Because, like,
yeah.
look, some stuff I don't mind, but I'm very focused on where am I making the difference? What do I need to do myself because I'm the only person who can do the job, or I'm the best person to do that job? Well, obviously, that's the writing. I have outsourced a lot. I have two PAs and a business manager, and none of them are full time, but still, combined, they're more than full time.
Yeah.
And I love it. I don't upload my own files. I don't format my own files. I don't, do most of my social media because it's not the best use of my time. Like, I'm
Yeah.
involved in deciding what we're doing and how we're doing, but I don't manage my translations anymore. I don't manage my audio anymore. I did it all, to
Right.
start with, but then
Right.
at some point it becomes routine, and the second it becomes routine, somebody else can do it. I don't need to do it
Right.
anymore. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that totally makes sense. And I think people who are better at a thing than us, they may want to find a job where they're doing that thing. And so why deprive them of
Well, and
something they could
also,
be
I mean,
doing?
if you purely look at it from an economic point of view, like a profit point of view, my time is expensive. I can either
Mm-hmm.
use an hour to write, I don't know, let's say 2,000 words. I'm fast, whatever. Or I can use an hour to format files and upload them, which is eventually going to make me more money. Well, obviously, writing the words, because every word I write, every book I release is making me an X amount of money. So it makes much more sense to me to hire somebody else to do those kinds of jobs and focus on the writing and on the stuff that really makes a difference myself, because that's optimizing my time and resources. Time is the most precious resource I have. So yeah, I got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful what to spend it on.
From, you're preaching to the choir on that one. Absolutely. I think that it's hard for us. I think some of us don't value ourselves well enough. And so we have trouble valuing our time well enough. But that's something we can all talk about with our therapists later on.
Yes.
Awesome. Love that. And y'all, you can always answer the question of the week at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Let's go into the top story of the week, a novel idea. National Novel Writing Month had long been a November novel writing tradition, with thousands of authors participating worldwide, writing 50,000 words over 30 days and spawning countless success stories from the popular writing challenge. And while NaNoWriMo closed up shop last spring
Yeah.
for reasons we have covered on the show,
Yep.
it looks like it doesn't have to be the end of the successful tradition. Quote, writing software company Pro Writing Aid, alongside partners that include Scrivener and Kickstarter, is relaunching the event, says a new press release on the Pro Writing Aid site. Quote, You've dreamed of writing a novel. Now it's time to actually do it. Join thousands of writers around the world, pushing through doubt, distractions, and writer's block to write 50,000 words in 30 days, end quote. Pro Writing Aid and its partners are encouraging writers to use their free tools to track word count, measure their progress towards goals, and earn badges to celebrate their achievements. In addition, they are offering free educational workshops and daily writing sprints. In addition to a long list of popular sponsors, Novel November has an even longer list of authors and writing mentors who've signed on to participate in the project, including authors and editors Madeline Miller, Tomi Adeyemi, Haley Milliman, Savannah Gilbo, Abby Emmons, Jessica Brody, and more. Quote, authors and mentors will be available throughout October and November to help writers prep for the challenge and answer questions that come up as they work on their novels, end quote. Well, it might be goodbye to NaNoWriMo. You can say hello to Novel November. For more information on how to participate in the free program and get started on planning your Novel November, click the link in our show notes. Nora, I hadn't heard about this until Roland fished this one out of the news for us. So it's a little awkward restarting a tradition that maybe the last couple years had.
But hey, I like it. I really do. Because
okay, tell me about it.
I've done NaNoWriMo a lot. I think the first time I participated, I want to say, was probably 2010. When I, still working on my craft at the time, and I think I was writing YA back then. I loved it. Like, just the encouragement of the group I was in, the sprinting group, and finishing that first book. That was such a high. And I participated for a lot of years even after I became Nora, because that's kind of how it was.
Right.
And I've always loved it. But then, of course, all the issues started coming to light, and I totally agree that they shut it down. I don't think there was a way to save NaNoWriMo after what went down there, but I'm truly happy that somebody took the idea and restarted it. And of course, it has to be a new name. I think Novel November is just as catchy as NaNoWriMo, honestly. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. The Kickstarter as a partner, that was a surprising one.
That is interesting.
Like Pro Writing Aid, which I do use, Scrivener, which is I'm their biggest fan. Like, that makes sense. Like, it makes sense that they would invest in an initiative like this, and I really hope it's going to take off. I do. I think it's awesome that they're restarting it. Yeah.
No, I agree with you that the name and they have to distance themselves from the original, and doing it in the same month. There are awkward notes to this, but I absolutely agree. We want to encourage more writers. We want to encourage more words on the page. We want to get more and more people to be supported. I recognized a couple of the names, not so many of them, but I recognized a couple as people who have huge YouTube followings. And it seems like if Pro Writing Aid has gone about it in a good way by providing tools that people need, and that's going to help them sell their software, of course. They've recruited a bunch of influencers.
It's relevant software.
It's relevant. No question. It's a business. It's a business. Everything's a business. I don't knock it. No. I don't knock it. But them also getting these influencers on board who might bring in a younger clientele, I think they've gone about it pretty much as intelligently as they could.
The only thing I hope is that nobody is going to abbreviate it to, Novel November to no, because that would be. But
that would be a no-no.
That would be a no-no. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nora, you've done these challenges before. What's your favorite kind of tip? And this is in the hot potatoes of wisdom. But what's your favorite tip for succeeding in one of these kinds of 30-day writing challenges?
Preparation. You really need to know what you're going to write. I am not a huge plotter. It kind of depends on what I'm writing. I have some romantic suspense series that, I have to plot, because you have to plot out the suspense plot, the suspense storyline. But other than that, I'm a pretty intuitive writer. But you have to prepare in advance, because if you're on day one and you still have to dig out your characters and figure out the backstory and, figure out your tropes, you're already like 3 days behind out of the gate. So preparing to me is inevitable. It's just make a game plan. This is the story I'm going to write. These are, roughly the chapters or the story beats, and this is where I want to go. I think that's the only way to make it successful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that totally makes sense to me. You've got a question here in the hot potatoes of wisdom
Yeah.
section for
So
me.
one thing I was wondering, so I've, like I said, I've always participated and loved it. But do you think there are reasons for people not to participate in a challenge like this?
So I'm like you. I like participating in these kinds of challenges, but there are two main objections I can see. So number one objection is this is a shiny object distraction from what you should be working on.
Mm,
So
good one.
if it pulls you from what your
Yeah.
main purpose is, I wouldn't recommend it. And number two, and this is me, the benefit of teaching thousands upon thousands of authors and learning what kind of different personality types there are and not, I have found an interesting subset of the author world that cannot put dates on something.
Mm,
If they put a date on it, it blows that up as a goal for them. It just
yeah.
stresses them out too much. It doesn't fit with their breed of neurospiciness, and we've all got our own type of neurospiciness going on.
Yeah.
And so if you are not, like, if you're like, well, I'm going to use this to force myself to do a thing that has never worked for me, I would avoid it.
And I think that's always a no. See what I did there? I thought that
I
was
see what you did. I see what you did. It
pretty
was
smart.
good.
I think for me, the biggest reason not to do it is if you are a writer who needs to reread your words and edit on the spot. Like, I'm a rough first draft writer. I can crank out that first draft and then I will sit down. Usually about halfway through the book, I have a read through and fix some things. But then I can sit down and really add to things. My first
Mhm.
draft, 9 out of 10 times, is mainly dialogue and some plot beats, but I don't do a lot of description because they don't come natural to me. I have to sit down for those. So I skip those. If you are a writer who has formed a habit, or you're wired in a way that your first draft is damn near perfect or damn near the final draft, then don't do it, because this is going to absolutely stress you out and it's not worth it. It may not work for you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would want to say. Like, it may not
Yeah.
work for you. Or if you're a
Yeah.
super slow writer, you don't have to be fast.
Right. You don't have to do it in 30 days. Do it
You
however
really
you
don't.
want.
No.
Awesome. Well, definitely interested to hear what people think about Novel November. We're going into the lightning round, Nora. Everyone's favorite part, where our co-host does a lightningy, thundery, whatevery sound. So this is your opportunity to shine.
Oh God. Ding dong.
Ooh, I like that. It's like the lightning came calling,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna like blow up your front porch.
Yeah, because if I have to do actual lightning, it's not going to end well. Also, I don't like lightning, and I absolutely hate thunder. So there's that.
Yeah, I liked the ding dong much better. So, Roland was snooping around, noticed that you have a page dedicated to tracking your works in progress. How does that help your author business, or is it just for fun?
So it's something I started doing, I think maybe a year after I started publishing,
Yeah.
because I had a lot of readers who were asking me what I was working on and wanted to kind of see the progress. And I was like, well, um, I send out a weekly newsletter. I might as well update that works in progress, the whip page, every week. And so I kind of made a habit of that. And it's fun for readers to see, because they can kind of see the books grow. They see what books I'm working on. Every now and then I'll tease them and I'll put on a super secret project, and then they'll know I'm working on something that I haven't announced yet. And then, the emails come with, oh my gosh, Nora, what are you working on? Are you writing this? Are you writing that? It also built some, expectations, I guess, and some suspense,
Right.
which, I like that. But it's more for fun. I track my own progress through Scrivener, which of course keeps word count. But this is just for readers, and it's fun.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll talk about this more next week, but there's something about looking for more sources of joy in your
Yes,
business.
yes. So I'm a big goal person, and I love checking things off. You mentioned Becca Syme. I'm a huge Becca fan. I'm in her coaching group, and
Hmm.
I've learned a lot about myself. And one of the things is that, look, I'm a number one achiever. If you speak
Yep.
Becca's language, that will not surprise you.
Nope.
Number one
Nope.
achiever. So I do like to set goals and check them off, but that may not work for everybody. And I don't, my goals aren't always public, like some of them might be, but I mean, that's a whole discussion. I don't know how you feel about goals, whether you should keep them private or make them public.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great question. Once again, this connects up with your personality type and if you're a Claire Taylor fan, your Enneagram type, absolutely. Um, I think that it goes back to this just idea of when you have reached goals in the past, did you share them on social media
Mm,
and then that helped them to come into fruition? Did you share them with your friends and family and that helped you or hurt you? Because I definitely know of people who, if they share it with other people, it will cause them to not do them because
mm,
they will get too nervous about them. And I
yeah.
know people that want to share them and then it does incredible things for them. I kind of am sometimes when I'm in a good mental headspace, sharing it is good for me. And when I'm not in a good headspace and I'm just trying to force something and I try to share it with everyone,
Mhm.
then it doesn't happen. And so I think it comes down to what works for you generally with your personality. And then it also comes down to where are you at in that moment? Are you trying to push too hard? And is your number one achiever going wild with you being at a low level of that
Yeah.
achievement state? That's kind of where you
Yeah.
need to make an assessment.
Yeah. I think my business goals, I mean, do I make them public as in a wide public? No, but like in my team, absolutely. I set very
Sure.
clear goals for the business. Personal goals sometimes. Um, it really depends on what it is. Some goals
Yeah.
are just too personal. And I don't mean
Yes.
necessarily personal as in that they're like super secret or private or embarrassing but they're just something that is too close to your heart, I think, to share. I
Yeah.
don't believe in oversharing. I really don't. Um, Business goals to me is different. The achiever in me likes to set ambitious goals. That's just how I roll. But I also don't have an issue not reaching them. That doesn't
Yeah.
deter me. That doesn't discourage me. So I think it's very right. What you said is you have to figure out how you are in that, what kind of personality you are, and whether not reaching public goals sets you back or whether you can just let that slide right off. It doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers others. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you talked about sharing your goals, maybe not with everyone, but sharing them with your team. I mean, I'm very interested. How do you get support from your team, from assistants to your staff? And then how do you decide, well, what's a me task? You already talked about how
Hmm.
valuable your time is. How do you decide on what's a you task and what must be handed off?
Um, so I have a business manager. I've been working with her only for a couple of months, so that's relatively new.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I started working with her is that I was working with two PAs, but I was still spending too much time coordinating the
Yes.
work. And I used to be a manager in a previous life. I've worked in healthcare for a long time, was a
Mhm.
surgical manager. So very different environment, but very high paced and very used to making rapid decisions. I mean, in all fairness, when a patient's dying on the table, you don't have a hell of a lot of time to
Nope,
decide.
you
So
better make it quick, yeah.
yeah, so that's like the snap decisions I don't have an issue with, but I was still wasting a lot of time and things weren't properly coordinated. So when I met Christina, my business manager, and talked to her, I was like, okay, this could be a really good fit. And that has worked out really well.
Mm.
She is basically providing the project management for my company, and that's just fantastic. She keeps us all on track. And then I have two PAs. My one PA is doing the all the audio and the translations and all the formatting and uploading. So she has very specific tasks, very closed off. But that's a huge part. That was a huge part of what I did myself before I hired her. So when I could basically delegate that to her, my goodness, that was the best feeling ever. Like, oh my gosh, I don't have
Yeah.
to do this anymore. That's fantastic. And then my other PA, Vicky, she's been with me since 2018. She's my right hand, and she does basically a lot of other things, like, email, all the practical stuff. Um, how do I decide? I think we've got it down by now because we've been
Yep.
working with each other for a while. Is that Vicky knows when to involve me? One criteria is is it can it go viral in a bad way? And I don't mean viral as in, millions. I'm talking like, okay, could this get me bad press in any way? That's a huge red flag. That means I need to be involved because I want to talk about, what is happening and how do we handle this. But most of the things they can handle pretty much themselves. Sometimes they'll double check. I don't have to make a lot of decisions anymore. A lot of it is
Mm.
just set in processes by now, which I love. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. I mean, that I think is what authors who are nervous about spending money on these things, that's what they forget. Not having to use their own brain for decisions,
yes.
so that you can focus on making decisions about your characters instead.
Yeah, I so one one interview that has always stayed with me, and I can't remember where I first saw it, is when you talk about the concept of decision fatigue, is that our
Yes.
brains get tired of making decisions throughout the day. So if you waste that energy, that decision power on stupid decisions, on small decisions, you don't have the energy for the big ones anymore. And so I remember reading about President Obama, who basically wore the same suits, the same
Yep.
socks, same shirts, the same ties, um, because that was one less decision that he had to make. And I mean,
Mhm.
considering that was the man who had the nuclear launch codes, I am very happy that he decided to reserve his mental energy for the big decisions, because who the heck
Mhm.
cares if he's wearing a red tie or a blue tie? I don't care, or a tan suit for that matter. Um, I just that really spoke to me. And so that's something I've been trying to do, is to outsource and delegate not just the work but also the decisions, because every decision I don't have to make frees up my brain for the more important stuff. So
Yeah.
that's just but I think you bring up a good point, is that some people find it really hard to
Yes.
hire new team members either for the marketing or for the business. So what advice would you give them?
I think that just putting out a notice and hiring the first person you see is likely not to work, but
Yeah.
I see a lot of authors doing that. I think that you need to really sit down, have a process by which you get a number of candidates. I've heard of people emailing their own lists of readers and finding some people that way. I've heard of people using Facebook groups like the PA Meet and Greet Facebook group to make some connections there. I've heard of people, getting referrals. But getting people in the door, I think, of being part one. Part two is direct them to send you an email with a subject line. If they don't send you the email with the right subject line, they're out of the running because they
Yes.
don't
Oh,
pay
I love that.
attention. They
Yes,
don't
I
pay
love that.
attention. Yep. I learned that from, I think, from Jamie Masters,
Oh,
million. Yeah,
yeah.
she's amazing, and she coached me for a time. She's fantastic. Then the third thing is you have them do something similar to what they would do in the job for you. A sample task of some kind, totally up to you if you want to give them a little bit of compensation for that task. Depends on how many people you have doing it, I would suppose. But if they do a bad job on that task, they're out of the running.
Yeah.
And then you actually talk to the people. Now, here's part 4. I like to use sneaky interview questions. What do I mean by sneaky? If you ask a person, are you a team player? They
Oh,
are
they're
going to
gonna say
say,
yes.
of course. And a really sly interviewer or interviewee is going to be all over that question. But if you say, describe a time that you really felt like that found family feeling at a company you were with, they can't BS their way around it, because you'll detect if they were I just do my job and I don't talk to anybody person, or if they're a person that actually makes connections.
Yeah.
And so sneaky interview questions being number 4. If you do that 4-part process of getting enough people in the gate, making sure they email with the right subject line, attention to detail, making sure they do a good job on a sample task, and then that they survive the sneaky interview questions, they are a lot more likely to be a good hire than a negative hire.
Yeah, I agree. I think something that not a lot of authors talk about, and this is obviously once you've hired them, is setting up an NDA. My PAs have an NDA,
Mine do too.
non-disclosure agreement,
Mm-hmm.
because they have access to a lot of sensitive information, both my numbers, but just, passwords and strategies and marketing. And um, not it's people think, oh, you don't trust them. No, if I didn't trust them, they wouldn't be my PAs. I wouldn't give them that access in the first place. But
Right.
that NDA is also to protect them. Vicky,
Yep.
especially because she's been working with me for so long now, she gets questions from other PAs like, how does Nora do this? Or
Mm-hmm.
she can hide behind the NDA. She can
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm sorry, there's an NDA in place. I'm not allowed to discuss this. Some of it is just information, with all due respect, I don't want my competitors to have. Like if it's taken me time and energy to figure it out, I don't have to give everything away for free. Um,
Right.
so that NDA, I think, is to me really important. And if your PA works for other authors, it's even more important. So Vicky is exclusive with me, but my other PA, Abby, works for multiple authors. So that NDA is just, it's important, and it protects all of us. So that's definitely a recommendation I would add. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I do that with all of my PAs too, but I didn't think about that being part of the process. You're absolutely right. Um, so when I have a guest on the show, I do like to scope out when they've chatted on other podcasts or when they've spoken at 20 books, or the new versions of 20 books. So a couple years back, you gave a talk on the power of focus in your
Yeah.
author career. Have you changed your viewpoint on that at all going into the back fourth of 2025?
No, I think that's a talk I gave at 20 books, the last 20 books, when it
Mm-hmm.
was still 20 books.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that was sort of a culmination of what I had learned in my journey, in then 6 years of publishing, is
Yeah.
how important it is to narrow down and to focus on what really matters. And I think ever since, I've only been doing that more. I've
Yeah.
stopped doing more things because I realized they're not moving the needle. I can keep doing them because we've always done them, or because other people are doing them, or whatever reason you fill in there. Um, but if they don't move the needle, I shouldn't be doing them. So by hiring Christina, for example, that's, to me, is another example of the power of focus,
Right.
because she is now taking over certain things that I did. I am able to focus even more. So I want to say, compared to 2 years ago, my focus is
Is
even far
even
more
better.
narrow than it was, which I love.
Mm,
So yeah, I stand behind that talk 100%.
that's
It's on
amazing.
YouTube, by the way, if people
Yeah,
are
it's
interested.
YouTube for free. Go check it out.
Yeah.
Focus in your power of focus in your author career. Definitely go Go snoop it like I snooped it today. So Nora, we have to come up with a question of the week. It could be related to anything. Are you going to do Novel November? What do you think of focus and hiring in your business? It could be really anything. Is there something specific you might want to ask our wonderful listeners today?
Yeah, I think I would want to ask, what should you be delegating, but are you not, and why? Because I think that there could be a lot of resistance, and if you dig a little deeper, it's really interesting to find out why you are so hesitant to delegate that. So I would love to hear some opinions on that.
I love, love, love that question. What should you be delegating that you haven't, and why haven't you handed it off? You can answer that question over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group or at sellmorebookshow.com. You can go to noraphoenix.com to check out Nora Phoenix's wonderful romance books. Nora, it's been such a delight to have you here today.
Thank you so much. It was fun.
You're welcome. And you'll be back here next week for our grand magical 600th episode.
Woo-hoo, party!
Craziness. I know, we're going to party. But I'm very excited to see everyone for that one. So for Nora, I'm Bryan. Have a great week of book selling, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week for episode 600. Bye.
Bye.